Welcome to this explainer. Let's just dive right into it today, because we're looking at a story that completely redefines how we think about time, success, and, honestly, the sheer power of our daily habits. We're going to explore the journey of a guy who literally had nothing. No money, no clear future, and really no hope. But in just 90 days, he managed to completely break out of this cycle of poverty and entirely transform his life. And no, he didn't win the lottery or anything like that. He did it using this incredibly simple, zero-cost framework built around the exact same hour of the day that most of us just spend aggressively hitting the snooze button.
So I really want you to think about this question for a second. What if you could somehow add 3 extra months to your year without actually changing the 24-hour clock? I know, it sounds like absolute magic, or maybe just a really bad math error, right? But as we'll see, this is the exact mathematical premise that unlocks everything we're about to talk about. It's this subtle shift in perspective that takes the exact same hours we all share every single day and turns them into a massive competitive advantage.
Okay, to understand how this all works, we've got to meet Thomas. Now, Thomas was a 32-year-old night security guard working at this massive warehouse. He worked incredibly hard, literally walking 4 miles a night on patrol, but his paycheck barely covered his basic survival. You see, Thomas was stuck in this state of what we can call living backwards. Basically, he was awake when the whole world was sleeping and asleep when the world was working. Every morning around 6 a.m., completely exhausted, he'd walk home past all these houses where families were just waking up, getting ready to go out and chase their dreams. He felt so trapped. He was just too physically drained from those night shifts to even think about learning new skills or applying for better jobs. The thing is, he wasn't lazy at all. He was just working incredibly hard in a life that was going absolutely nowhere. But then, the breaking point hit, and it hit hard. Thomas's mother, who was living out in the countryside, suddenly collapsed. She ended up hospitalized, entirely from stress and sheer exhaustion. So Thomas rushes to her bedside, and she just grabs his hand and whispers this desperate plea. She literally begged him not to waste his life the way she felt she had wasted hers. She made him promise to find a way out. And standing outside that little village clinic in the freezing, quiet air at 5 a.m., Thomas just broke down. But it wasn't from sadness. It was pure anger at his own helplessness. And right then and there, he made a firm decision. He was completely done living this way. Well, talk about being in the right place at the right time. Serendipity totally stepped in on a 6 a.m. bus ride back to town. Thomas is sitting there, and he notices this crazy stark contrast. On one side of the bus, there's him, right? Exhausted, just coming off a grueling night shift, heading home to sleep the whole day away. But then, on the other side, there's Mr. Chun. He's this highly successful local businessman, and he is wide awake, sharply dressed, just peacefully reading a book, getting completely ready to conquer the day. Thomas finally gathers up his courage and asks this wealthy guy why on earth he's riding an early commuter bus. And Mr. Chun's answer? It changes Thomas's life forever.
Mr. Chun shared this core philosophy that completely altered Thomas's trajectory. He said, the hours between 5 a.m. and 7 a.m., that is when you can build the life you want while everyone else is still dreaming. He went on to explain that he had actually been waking up at 4:30 a.m. every single day for 30 years, and he used that time to read, think, and plan, long before the world could even try to interrupt him. He looked right at Thomas and told him that if he ever wanted to stop living backwards, he had to reclaim control of those magic hours of dawn.
Let's actually break down the math behind this, because the way Mr. Chun laid it out is just brilliant. Think about it. If you dedicate just 2 hours a morning to building your future, in a single week, that adds up to 14 extra hours. That's literally an entire weekend's worth of focused, uninterrupted time dedicated entirely to building your own foundation. But let's scale this up a bit. If you keep that habit going, those 2 hours a morning suddenly compound into 60 hours in a single month. Just imagine what you could learn or build or create with 60 hours of pure, distraction-free focus every 30 days. It's massive. And here's where the ultimate mathematical impact really hits you. Over the course of a single year, waking up just 2 hours earlier yields 730 hours. Just sit with that number for a second. 730 hours of time, where the world demands absolutely nothing of you, and you can redirect all of it into your own personal growth. To put that into perspective, because 730 hours is kind of abstract, that's the equivalent of 91 standard 8-hour workdays. On a working calendar, that is roughly 3 extra months of purely productive time. So, by adopting this framework, Thomas wouldn't just be slowly getting ahead, he'd literally be living a 15-month year while all of his competition was stuck with the standard 12. Now, obviously, you can't just wake up early and stare at the wall, right? Mr. Chun gave Thomas a very strict 2-hour blueprint to follow. Hour 1, which is from 5 to 6 a.m., is dedicated entirely to building skills. You've got to learn something that directly improves your financial or professional situation. For Thomas, that meant grinding through free online courses. Then Hour 2, from 6 to 7 a.m., well, that's about building the body and the mind. That means 30 minutes of exercise to maintain your physical health, followed by reading or planning out your day. It's a completely holistic foundation for success.
So the really crucial part is how you actually maintain this routine. And that all comes down to Mr. Chun's 3 non-negotiable rules. First, you wake at 5 a.m. daily, period. No weekends off, no, oh, just this once excuses. Second, you have to be asleep by 9 p.m. You literally cannot cheat sleep and expect to succeed, you're just shifting when it happens. And third, you have to just accept that the first week is going to be absolute hell. Your brain is going to beg for the snooze button, your body will actively fight you, but your discipline has to override your excuses.
So, Thomas takes the plunge, embarking on this intense 90-day crucible. And on day 1, he was in total agony. He completely shifted his sleep schedule, dragged himself out of bed at 5 a.m., and was just staring at these YouTube Excel tutorials with burning eyes. But he didn't quit. And by day 20, he finally had a breakthrough. His body actually adapted. He started waking up like 2 minutes before his alarm even went off, and those complicated accounting formulas finally started making sense. And then came the payoff. On day 87, those self-taught skills got management to notice his custom inventory spreadsheets, and they literally offered him a daytime accounting promotion with double his old salary.
The tangible results of this compounding daily effort were just incredible. In 3 months, he knocked out 3 complete online accounting courses. His health totally transformed just from adding those 30 minutes of daily walking. He delivered massive value to his employer with that custom spreadsheet. But most importantly, and this is where he fulfilled that promise to his mom, he finally earned enough to relocate her to town so she could get the proper medical care she so desperately needed.
What really makes this story so powerful, though, is the emotional payoff down the line. A whole year later, Thomas is now the lead accountant. By all metrics, he's made it. But his coworkers are super confused because he still wakes up at 5 a.m. every single day. And when they ask him why he's still doing it, he delivers this incredibly profound thought. Success is not a destination. It is a daily practice. You see, the 5 a.m. routine was no longer just some strategy to get a better job. It had fundamentally become his identity.
Let's pivot for a second and think about what this really means for you. The source text makes this amazing argument. The difference between where you are right now and where you want to be isn't about raw talent. It's not even about working yourself into the ground until you burn out. It's entirely about how you use the time when everyone else is sleeping. Think about it. Before 7 a.m., there are absolutely no notifications, no emails, no meetings. Your willpower and your focus are at their absolute peak, right before the chaos of the day drains them all away.
So I'm going to pass Mr. Chun's challenge directly over to you. Here are 3 actionable steps. You can start tonight. Number 1, set your alarm for exactly 5 a.m., not 5:15, not 5:30, and physically place your phone clear across the room so you are literally forced to get out of bed to turn it off. Number 2, choose exactly 1 skill to build for the next 90 days during that first hour. Focus is absolutely crucial here. And number 3, ruthlessly protect your 9 p.m. bedtime. Cut out the endless doom scrolling and protect your rest so you can actually protect your future.
We're going to wrap up this explainer with one final thought. Look, Thomas had no degree, no connections, and barely a dime to his name. But he made a choice before the sun even came up that completely altered his destiny. You've got the internet, you've got access to education, and you have the exact same 24 hours in the day. The only thing missing right now is a decision. So ask yourself, what are you going to build tomorrow at 5 a.m.? The choice is entirely yours. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I'll see you next time.